My spoiled stepmom lost her mind when my dad bought me a Mercedes and demanded that I give her the car. So I begged my dad to divorce her. When I was 13, my dad remarried, and his new wife moved in with us. From day one, she insisted I call her mom, even though I didn't want to. I talked to my dad, and thankfully, he took my side, but she was not pleased at all. With my dad not being home often, she got permission from him to discipline me whenever I overstepped. If I didn't do the dishes when she asked, she would take my phone and only give it back the next day. This time, I got really sick and could barely get up, but my stepmother thought I was faking it to skip school. So, she forced me to dress up and kicked me out, saying I should walk to school by myself. I cried all the way there and managed to arrive, but immediately passed out due to a high fever. My dad came home and took care of me while my stepmother lied to him about her concern and tried to stop me from going. I tried to tell him the truth, but he didn't believe me, thinking I was just hallucinating since his wife would never do that. It sounds weird, but that wasn't the worst part. The worst was whenever my dad came home, my stepmother demanded he take her out on dates and spend time with her instead of me. I really wanted to go out with them and have fun with my dad, but by then, I was too scared to speak up, so I ended up staying home while my dad took his wife out to explore the world. But on my 16th birthday, I finally found the courage to call my dad and talk about what was happening with my stepmother. He still didn't believe me, but I think he realized he needed to spend more time with me, or we'd have no future relationship. So, he started taking me fishing and even on some of his business trips. My stepmother hated this and often threw tantrums about how she needed my dad, not me. Fortunately, my dad always hung out with me, and we grew very close. He assured me I could stay in his house as long as I wanted and wouldn't have to move out at 18. As always, my stepmother argued that what he said was unfair and that the house belonged to her. My dad quickly corrected her, saying his son should always stay close to him now. I never asked my dad to leave his wife or tried to create problems between them because I saw he was sometimes really happy with her. But on my 18th birthday, she officially went too far. I was just relaxing at home, getting ready to go out and spend time with my friends. I thought my dad was on another business trip and would miss my birthday as he did every year. But suddenly, there was a knock at the door, and my dad surprised me with a huge cake in his hands. I was about to cry when he shouted happy birthday and hugged me, saying my presence was the best gift. Thank you, Dad, but he told me to get ready because he had another gift for me. He took me outside and showed me the new Mercedes he had bought for me. I was never interested in sports cars, even though I knew my dad could afford them and I just wanted a simple, reliable car that wouldn't break down. So, I was really happy and thanked him a lot. But then, my stepmother burst out of the house, screaming for us to stop. She started saying it was unfair for my dad to buy a car for me and not for her. According to her, I was perfectly capable of getting a job and buying my own things, and it was she who needed help. She said my dad could make things right by taking the car keys from me and giving them to her. When my dad and I refused, she completely lost it. She grabbed a rock and threw it at the windshield, causing a huge crack. Then she smiled and said she would do it again if we didn't do as she asked. I was about to say something when my dad surprised me by yelling at her to go inside. That's when I realized my stepmother hadn't even wished me a happy birthday and only spoke to me to try and take away mine. You can now check if there's a second part by pressing share and more.